Channel 13 Eyewitness News and NBC News, Indiana's news leaders.
Hurricane Ike after the storm, the rubble, and a massive search and rescue in Texas for those who didn't make it out.
Somebody, please help us, please.
Unplugged in Houston, the nation's fourth largest city, out of power, out of business tonight. And the spike in gas prices nationwide as fear of shortages grows.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. A full day after Hurricane Ike blasted into Texas, there is growing anxiety over those who didn't get out, and there were thousands of them before that surge of water buried their Galveston neighborhoods. Across the region, the death toll is at least 13. Ike has left an indelible calling card along the Texas coast, from flattened homes to millions left sweating out another miserable night in the dark, many still in shelters. The very early damage estimate is at least $8 billion on the low end. Almost 2 million electricity customers in the Houston area are without power. Nearly 2,000 people have been rescued from flooded or damaged neighborhoods, 400 by air. Tonight, 15 refineries in the region remain shut down, and gas prices are up. We have a lot of correspondents in the region tonight. We're going to start with the tale of the two cities hit hardest by Ike. And to lead us through that part of our coverage, let's begin in Galveston with NBC's Amy Robach. Amy?
Good evening, Lester. Well, this is what happens when a wall of water 10 to 12 feet high comes rushing into a residential area. Hurricane Ike flattened and ripped apart several homes here along the Ofad Bayou. In fact, just a few hours ago when we arrived here, a man was trapped in his second floor up in his house. Police had to come in and rescue him. That is a story that has been told so many times across the Gulf region. Earlier this afternoon, Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff visited the area, and on Tuesday, President Bush will also tour the damage. NBC's Janet Shamlian has been following the very latest from here in Galveston. She joins us now. Janet, good evening. Amy, good evening. When the sun goes down here in Galveston, everything stops. There are no lights, no running water, no gas, no food. Really no way to survive right now. And hundreds of people who didn't want to evacuate before the storm are now desperate to get out.
Galveston in shreds. As the island started picking up the pieces, hundreds of the newly homeless, scared and frustrated, lined up for help.
33, 34, 35, 36. 37, 38, 39, where's the family split?
These are among the thousands who defied government orders to evacuate before the storm.
Me and my son lost our home. It was under the water. It was over our heads. Well, it was to my chin, and my car's floating down the road right now, so it's a very scary situation.
Now they have no choice but to leave, their homes destroyed.
We lost everything. We got our kids, but I'm scared.
The buses are taking these people to shelters in San Antonio. How long they'll be there, they don't know. And even more unknown, what they'll do after that.
It all comes after Galveston took a direct hit as Hurricane Ike roared ashore as a strong Category 2 early Saturday morning. The surge swamped the island, destroyed homes, sparked fires, and then the human toll. 3 confirmed dead.
They'll say, why did you leave? But it's easier said than done, too. Really, it is.
Emergency crews in the region were overwhelmed with calls for rescues, some unanswered.
They said tie your ID to your ankle and grab an ice chest and just hope to God you get caught, or so they can identify you if you die.
Without power and water, food and gas, Galveston is uninhabitable.
Do not come back to Galveston. You cannot live here at this time. We have recovered before, and we're going to do it again.
Some vowing not even to try.
This just let us see that this happened and it can happen again. So it's time to just start all over again. It's time.
Still unknown here, the fate of the vulnerable West End, underwater, and authorities hope without more victims.
And many of those residences on the West End are vacation rentals and second homes. There is a mandatory curfew here, only essential personnel being allowed on and off the island. Right now, a lot of people on the other side of the causeway are very anxious to come to Galveston Island and check on their homes, but authorities say they will not let that happen until they restore power here, and that could be 2 weeks or more. Amy? NBC's Janet Shamlian, thank you. About an hour from here in Houston, that city also facing massive power outages and cleanup. NBC's Don Teague is there with the very latest for us this evening. Don.
Good evening, Amy. With most of Houston still in the dark and the city